Wow, what a weekend of wrestling with 70 conference champions and 7 team champions. We have a lot to talk about in this week's wrestling headlines. At the top, the NC State Wolfpack won the 4th ACC title in a row. They beat the Virginia Tech Hokies in a stunning, exciting victory, but they ran away with this tournament. Another team that really ran away with the title was Mizzou. They beat out Iowa State, Oklahoma, and Oklahoma State for the Big 12 title, their first Big 12 title in 10 years, but overall it was their 11th straight conference championship after switching from the MAC last year. Another crazy interesting conference was the EIWA that Cornell came out on top of, and then the Big 10. Oh my goodness. Not a lot of people gave Michigan enough credit, but they pulled off the victory, beating out Penn State and Iowa. They beat the Nittany Lions by just a point and a half. And I'll tell you what, it's fitting that they won considering this is their 100th anniversary season. In the MAC, Lock Haven won, beating out favorites Central Michigan. They ended up winning that MAC title. And in the Pac-12, the Arizona State Sun Devils won their 3rd straight conference title in a row. And actually, they are the most conference champions across every single conference with 6. In second place for most conference champions was NC State and Penn State with 4 champions total. And they won that conference championship, the Pac-12, by 0.5 points. So a half a point margin. How darn close was that? And in the SoCon, the final conference, the Campbell Fighting Campbells beat App State by just 5.5 points. If you want the full Big Ten recap and are wondering what the heck else you missed from this weekend, including a note on medical forfeits, then let's stop stalling and start talking wrestling. What's going on, wrestling fans? My name's Josiah, and welcome to Fanco Wrestling, your source for college wrestling news and discussion. And this week's wrestling headlines, we have a lot to talk about with the conference championships. Did you watch them this weekend? And in particular, did you watch the Big Ten quarterfinals? Because if you did, you may have seen me on the broadcast. They actually put up a photo of me watching the Big Tens in my living room, just as a wrestling fan, just like you. A lot of fans reached out to me about it. I thought it was super cool that they put that up there. And I was having a blast up through the finals when Nick Suriano won at 125 pounds. He beat Eric Barnett by a major decision 12-4 in the finals. And this was an interesting weight because Barnett had beat DiAugustino in the semis, and he wasn't supposed to meet DiAugustino. In fact, he was probably supposed to meet Drew Hildebrand, who was upset just a round before that and was kind of crucial points that didn't go Penn State's way. And on the opposite side, Nick Suriano was scoring crucial points that went Michigan's way to help win that team title. Now, Suriano was the first wrestler to win 2 Big Ten titles at 2 different weight classes at 2 different schools. Kind of interesting there. And at 133 pounds, we got the RBY and Austin DeSanto rematch. And I'll be honest, this was really similar to the dual meet match that we got just a couple of months ago. DeSanto was the aggressor in on these attacks, but he just wasn't able to really score. And it seemed like at times he was just kind of baiting for that stall call, similar to that match from before, and he just got to find a way to get in and actually finish, which he hasn't been able to because RBY is just looking more and more comfortable in that position when he has his hips into DeSanto and he's just waiting for the stalemate to be called. And at 141 pounds, this is where there's been a lot of talk and chatter about medical forfeits. I'm going to have a note on that in just a second, but Nick Lee won his first Big Ten title. It was a shame the way he won it because it was by a medical forfeit in the finals. Not something that, you'll want. That's not how you want to win your Big Ten title. You really want it to be more exciting. The medical forfeit was over Jaden Ironman, and this was a crazy weight with medical forfeits. It was unfortunate that we didn't see these matches happen, but rest assured, we're going to see this on the big stage. At 149, what a nuts weight. Austin Gomez was on fire this weekend. He pinned Ridge Lovett in the semifinals, then went on to the finals to beat Sammy Sasso by an 8-5 decision with a few takedowns on the former national finalist. Now, this was really interesting because Gomez was the first Wisconsin wrestler to win at 149 pounds. And man, he has some exciting energy going into Detroit in just a couple of weeks. I'd be scared if I was at 149 pounds. Now, at 157, Deacon and Lawan was in both these guys were in the finals. And listen, like 157 just to me, I'm just going to be honest, is not a super exciting weight this year. Deacon, I think he's a phenomenal wrestler. One of the best at 157. Him and David Carr are two of the top guys. He's an extremely humble guy. I like watching him. I like hearing what he has to say after matches. But the I guess difference between like him and like an AJ Ferrari, who's more like in your face and controversial, and he's gonna say some crazy things, is it's a bit more exciting. Where 157 is kind of a boring weight because the guys are so humble. Now I appreciate that humbleness, and I'd like to hear what you had to say about humbleness versus like loudmouth kind of wrestlers. At 165, Alex Marinelli won his fourth Big Ten title at the 165 pounds. He beat Cam Amin in the finals 2-1 and won that title. It was kind of, 165 was a nutso weight to begin with Amin beating Hartzell in the semifinals. Like, what the heck's going to happen at this weight at the national championships? I'm going to be diving into that in a future video, but that was nuts. At 174, Carter Sirachi beat Logan Massa 5-1. And yeah, a lot of Michigan guys in the finals. 8 of them actually were in the finals. Not all of them won, but still they had a pretty darn good tournament. In the most part, this match, not the most exciting match. Both guys seem to be a bit gassed. It was another good win for Sirachi, who unfortunately had a medical forfeit over Kemmer in the semifinals. At 184, Miles Amin and Aaron Brooks. This had to be the match of the night. It was just super exciting, and I don't think a lot of people gave Miles Amin enough credit. And this goes back to just a month or two ago when I said I thought it was possible that Amin would beat Brooks in the dual meet, and it came down to the last 30 seconds of the match, and then Brooks won. And here again, people weren't giving him enough credit, and he proved everybody wrong. And the fact that he beat Aaron Brooks in sudden victory 6-4. And I didn't think, in kind of at the beginning of this match, I was like, I don't know if Amin's going to be able to catch up with Brooks's pace, but he fully matched it. And in the overtime period, Amin pretty much right away took down Brooks. He was kind of caught flat-footed and ended up beating him. And that leads us to 197 pounds with Max Dean. Not the most exciting match, but he was tough on top, able to beat Eric Schultz of Nebraska by a 4-1 decision, which led us to the heavyweight bout. Gable Stevenson came out to a standing ovation because unfortunately he had a medical forfeit from Anthony Cassiope. Now, the good news was we were able to watch Greg Kirkfleet and Mason Parrish, which was a fun, exciting match, and Kirkfleet ended up beating Parrish for the second time this season. But it was a shame that that's the way the finals had to go out, with a medical forfeit. And that leads us to a note on medical forfeit. So, are they bad? Is this a bad thing? So I mentioned some of these things in the Big Ten recap already, but let's look at this. At 141, for example, Sebastian Rivera had a medical forfeit. He wrestled up until the semis when he medically forfeited to Jaden Ironman. In the finals, then, Ironman forfeited to Nick Lee, and so we didn't get that match. And there was actually some talk on Twitter about this that I already mentioned. Willie Saylor, wrestling personality, actually tweeted out that just like, this isn't good for the sport of wrestling. And Jaden Ironman kind of got into a kerfuffle with him, just saying like, come on, man. Like, are you serious? So, like, I get that there are two sides to this argument, right? There's the fan side and there's the, like, wrestler and coaches side. When we look from the fan side, okay, just in general for what happened if you missed it, there were multiple medical forfeits. I saw somewhere where out of the 30 matches in the finals between, first, third, and fifth place matches, there were 10 medical forfeits. That's no fun. And as a fan, it just brings down the momentum. Jordan Burroughs even tweeted about this today, that it just brings down the momentum of the finals. Now, I mean, is this acceptable? Is this an acceptable thing? Here's the thing. For coaches, you're trying to keep your wrestlers healthy. You want to get them the nationals, and you want them to win a national title. Get on the stand, win a national title. If they're not their best and something's tweaked, if they are automatically qualified, why wrestle? And that's kind of where that's coming from. As a fan, if you're paying for tickets or you're paying to watch these matches, it's a shame that we're not going to see the matches that we had paid for. So I do get both sides of this. And Tom Brands had this to say. He said, we have Detroit we're getting ready for. You come sit in our room and tell me you make the decision that's any different. You wouldn't. We're serious about winning championships. We're serious about putting our guys in positions to win championships. So again, I understand that. I'd love to hear what you have to say about medical forfeits because there's a lot of talk about this online right now, whether it's good, bad, annoying. So leave a comment down below. And that moves us to the other crazy things that happened this weekend that you may have missed from the conference championships. And I want to pull up the Wrestlers of the Week presented by Defense Soap. This week, decided to choose a Wrestler of the Week from every single conference who really proved himself in multiple ways, whether he's beating a national champion, winning the first conference title, winning a multiple conference title. I mean, these guys just showed up to the conference championships. And one of the crazy things that happened this weekend was, yikes, Vito Ruja put the beat down on Pat Glory. Beat him 19-6 in the EIWA finals at 125 pounds. I'm excited for, if Vito shows up again like this to the national championships and is able to wrestle Soriano, hopefully in the finals. That's going to be an exciting match. Another crazy, awesome match was in the SoCon at 149 pounds between Josh Heil and Jonathan Milner. These two wrestled for the third time in their career, and for the third time, John Milner of App State defeated Josh Heil in a close but exciting matchup. I hope that these two are put on opposite sides of the bracket so they can really prove where they are in the top 10, because these are two top 10 guys in the SoCon. And I don't know the last time that has happened, but what a tournament for those two guys. And at 157 in the ACC, did you see Ed Scott beat national champion Austin O'Connor? Yeah, O'Connor bumped up from 49 to 57 this year, and then Ed Scott beat him in the ACC championship finals. Another awesome matchup was 165, and we just know that this weight class is absolutely bonkers. But in the Pac-12 in particular, Evan Wick won the Pac-12 by beating Griffith in the finals. Griffith made the finals by beating Anthony Valencia in the semis. This was the third time that Wick has beat Griffith this season. He shows to be the true top dog at the weight. And then we get into 174 in the ACC, and oh my goodness, Mekhi Lewis showed up. He beat Hayden Hidley in the semifinals. Yes, a wild semifinals match. Ended up getting the takedown on Hidley, and then in the finals there, you just saw him beating Clay Loud in the finals to win that ACC title. At 184, Trey Muniz of Oregon State had 2 falls to win the Pac-12 championships. And then at 197 pounds in the Big 12 was Stephen Buchanan, who pinned Younger Bastida in the semifinals and then ended up going on to win in the finals. And one of the other awesome matches from this weekend was heavyweight Wyatt Hendrickson, who had 16 falls this season and just continues to roll. Also at heavyweight was Matt Stencil and Jordan Wood, who each won their 5th conference title this year. That just sets us up for the upcoming National Wrestling Championships, which will be happening sooner than you realize. Seeds should hopefully be coming out later this week. Don't worry, I'll be having a video out talking all about what the heck is happening with the seeds. I'm sure there will be some craziness there. Drop a comment now if you're at the end of this video with what you thought of the Conference Wrestling Championships, and I'll talk to you soon.